What's going on YouTube? So the X7 is of course BMW's largest SUV, and it has been a large sales success for the brand as well since its introduction. Now today we're with the latest 2026 example, and we want to know, is there anything different for 2026? And is this still an excellent choice even as it approaches the end of its lifespan? Well, let's go ahead and find out. And of course, let's get things started with our quick spec dump. So under the hood, you'll continue to find the same powertrain choices for 2026. This is the 40i model, which is a 3-liter turbocharged inline 6-cylinder with a mild hybrid, making 375 horsepower. That's paired with standard all-wheel drive, an 8-speed automatic transmission, and our combined fuel economy is an impressive 23 mpg.
Now, the base price for the X7 in 2026 is $85,000. And if you're looking to buy one or any new vehicle, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes to get the best price. Now, of course, we cannot wait to take this out for a spin later on and get things like our official sound level rating. After that, we'll also discuss things like resale and reliability.
But for now, let's go ahead and close up the hood so that we can get into the details of the exterior as well as the interior. Now, like I mentioned at the introduction, this model has been around for a while at this point, and we're expecting to see the next generation model relatively soon. That being said, this is still a very fresh looking SUV because BMW refreshed the design to give it a lot of the latest design characteristics. So that includes, of course, your large kidney grille here. You can get this finished in the black you see here with our M Sport package, and we also have the more aggressive lower fascia because of that same package as well. This was also one of the very first BMWs to come with their new split headlight design, which we've now seen go across a lot more of the lineup. So up at the top, you've got your daytime running light and turn signal indicator with the fading effect, and we also have our LED headlights, of course, down here. These are standard adaptive LED headlights. You can get available crystals up here in this section as well if you want to be extra bougie. Now, moving to the wheels, you continue to have a wide variety of sizes and designs to choose from. It starts at 21 inches and moves up to 23 inches as a maximum. This is the 21-inch standard M Sport design. As you can see, it's kind of a classic design overall, but this is a big SUV, so my personal preference would be actually to upsize the wheels just a little bit more to kind of fill out this wheel area. Now, of course, as you can see, we have body color surrounds through here, a little bit of gloss black detailing, and as we come up here to our mirrors, these are fully loaded as you would expect, so we have power folding, blind spot monitoring, auto dimming, and heating.
Now, at the side of the X7, of course, this is the largest BMW, and as such, it comes in at an overall vehicle length of 203.3 inches. Now, as far as design elements, we do have blacked out window surrounds, the raised roof rails up top, and then as we move around to the rear design, you're not going to see any major design changes for 2026. Of course, this is one of the last model years of this vehicle, if not the last. And as far as design touches are concerned, I think it's a very premium and elegant look. We have a spoiler right up here. We have a integrated wiper, blacked out branding, or blacked out piece through the center section. And then as far as our taillights are concerned, they have a nice smoked finish. They're also going to be full LED as expected, and you also have the fading turn signal animation. As we drop down to the lower fascia, I love that we keep the dual exposed exhaust outlets. Those look really fantastic. Also, the tow rating is really fantastic as well. It's 7,500 pounds as a maximum. Now, when it comes to your safety systems, BMW is going to give you 2 out of 4 of those as standard equipment. If you want the other active safety features, such as adaptive cruise control, you will have to option on a driver's assistance package. Now, when you do that, you will get a very advanced system as well, so that will even allow for hands-free highway driving at up to 85 miles per hour, and all you have to do is look in the mirror to change lanes, so it's a very advanced system. Now, for 2026, I do want to point out a change for the X7. They have discontinued one of the red colors. We'll put that on the screen right now, but do keep that in mind if you want to go ahead and get a 25 in that color. But guys, there is an extremely luxurious cabin that we can't wait to show you. But first, if you're new here, we're brothers and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We started young, and since then we've reviewed over 2,000 cars at every price point.
No matter what you're looking for, from sound level readings to cargo measurements, we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family.
Let's learn a lot and have some fun with all the latest cars. All right, so getting into the interior, we'll first look at the key fob, typical BMW key fob. Of course, you've got smart entry as well as remote start on the fob there. And then to get inside the vehicle, you can just reach behind the door handle that will unlock it. We also have the proximity lock and unlock turned on today's tester. And then taking a look at the interior, obviously this is a very opulent space and there's a lot of customizability. We'll start by talking about the seats because that's where that kind of begins. You begin with a Centafin leatherette, and then you can move up to merino leather if you want that. This is actually the leatherette. A lot of you guys probably didn't realize that when I was saying that because this has a beautiful quilting to it. It's also very soft and supple. I love these seats. They're really quite nice, and I'm sure they age very well also. As far as the adjustments, 16-way adjustment is going to be standard equipment. You can further enhance that to 20 ways of adjustment, and you can also add in power massage if you want that feature. But as you can see, we've got a lot of adjustments here, and you also have a thigh extension. Memory seats are located right there on the door trim, and let's go ahead and climb inside. Now, as I close up the doors, which are soft close on today's tester, let's talk about the rest of the cabin materials. This remains really a beautifully finished BMW interior. Of course, you have soft materials even on the extreme lower portions. We've got leather running all through the center section as well as up through here. Real metal details. As we move up to the top here, this is all finished in the same leatherette material. We have a high gloss wood on today's tester, but of course there's a wide variety of different trims that you can get here. And I didn't really mention it earlier, but there's also a wide variety of interior colors that you can get as well to match whatever your personal taste is. You've got the little light bar that was added a couple years ago through there, and then more of the wood kind of waterfalling through here with the leather padding all along the console. Let's fire it up with the push button start. And jumping into some individual features, we'll start with the gauge cluster as always. 12.3-inch live cockpit professional. This is, of course, reconfigurable with a few different designs. You can put the things like the map right there in the center. And furthermore, this model comes standard with a head-up display, so that's a pretty nice standard feature for the BMW lineup. As we pull back to the steering wheel, you get a couple different designs since we have the M Sport. That gives us kind of the more aggressive 3-spoke steering wheel design. We also have the leather-covered airbag cover, and then it comes standard with power adjustment as well as heating. You have rain-sensing wipers right there. And then let's turn over here and take a look at interior storage, of course. This is a pretty big SUV, and inside of our center console, we now have it loaded with donuts so that we can check the volume, of course, as we like to do at Car Confections. This has 9 donuts inside, which is not fantastic, of course, for a 3-row SUV, but will probably be enough for most needs. Up in front of that, if we push down on that and slide back the piece of wood, we have a little bit more storage, not a ton. Here's our standard wireless phone charging pad on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, we have a little bit more storage. By the way, here's your key card you can use with the digital key system if you want. 2 cup holders right there with optional heating and cooling abilities. Now, as far as the shifter, it's small and out of the way. Pull down for drive. There are paddle shifters on the steering wheel. Press up for reverse. When you go into reverse, here is the available 360-degree camera system. This is part of the parking assistance package. And we can go right there and check out the 3D view, which you can use the little knob on the dashboard there to spin all around the vehicle itself. And then just press the P right there for park. You also have an electronic parking brake. Now, as I was using this, iDrive controller, that did remind me of something I want to point out. BMW has confirmed that all their next generation products are going to eliminate that. So if this is a feature that you've grown accustomed to or you really, really like, so you don't have to put fingerprints on the screen, that is something that's for sure going away with the next generation. So you might want to consider shopping for your X7 now. Now let's move on up here. We have a little panel here with some buttons, including a physical control for the audio system. There's a few different choices on this front. We have the middle option, that is the Harman Kardon sound system with 14 speakers, and we'll go ahead and give that a sample right now. So overall sound quality of this system is quite good. You can go all the way out and really ball out and get the Bauer & Wilkins sound system if you want the top tier option. And one thing I do want to point out is that for 2026, gesture control has been eliminated. So you notice I was over here twisting the actual physical knob. You can't do this anymore. I guess not enough people were using it for BMW. You want to keep that feature around. Now let's move on to our main display here. So this is the latest version of iDrive, and we've got a 14.9 inch display. On this version, your map kind of just sits here in the back. Then you have some little multitasking apps that you can swipe between, and the rest of the apps are located right there. You got the nice little home button, and then also along the bottom, of course, are your climate controls. So you adjust your temperature right through there. I can tap there and that will pull up our menu for our standard heated seats. We also have the ventilated seats. That is part of our climate package on today's example. And inside of that climate package as well is the unlocking of 5-zone automatic climate. So this does have 5 zones on board. Mason will talk more about that in the back seats, but you got a lot of functionality in terms of customization with that, of course. Other things to know about the iDrive system, of course, you have standard wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay abilities. Up top, we've got an auto-dimming mirror with 3 HomeLink universal remotes. We have a nice Alcantara suede headliner. And then I'll press back on that button there to roll back the sunshade for our panoramic sunroof. As you can see, this is a nice large piece of glass. You've got the sunshade. The front panel opens up, and furthermore, you even have a second sunroof for the 3rd row occupants.
And let's start talking about the rear seat of the BMW X7. Now, there's a lot to talk about when it comes to this because there's a lot of luxury and also quite a lot of space. This is the biggest BMW after all. So we're sitting at about 38 inches of leg room and about 40 inches of headroom. Those are really good space figures for the most part. It is going to depend largely on what you are comparing this to. If it's something like a body-on-frame SUV, it's not quite as big as that, but it is about the same as something like an Audi Q7 for reference, a little smaller than GLS. Now, of course, we brought the official Car Confections ruler along. That's because I'm 5'9", and this seat is adjusted to Drew, who is 5'8", so you can get a realistic knee room figure. We're sitting at about 6 inches of knee room, so that's not too bad, but it's also not too great. We also do have a little bit of room for my feet to slide up underneath of the seat. And speaking of the seats, we do have the optional captain's chair. Standard is a bench seat, which would, of course, add another seat to the overall seating capacity. So we're sitting at 6-passenger. 7-passenger is standard equipment. If you get the captain's chair, you get the nice armrest, though. And then as far as other seat functions, you'll see there on the side that they are fully power adjusting seats. So that is actually standard equipment on every single X7 to have the fully power adjusting second row. That's definitely a nice bougie feature to have. And as you can see, it does slide back a good distance and allow you to recline a good distance. Now, what about other features? We have vents here in the center section. We also have them on the B-pillar as well. We have each passenger can adjust their own temperature because we have 2 zones of climate here in the rear. We also have the optional heated back seats. Ventilation is not offered though, so keep that in mind. Little storage area, 12-volt outlet, 2 USB-C ports. We have 2 cup holders as well. These can easily fit things like a water bottle inside. And then you have even more USB ports in each seat back. Now, if you go over to the door trim, you'll find a really nice one. You'll even find features such as a power sunshade. So as you can see, I'm going to go ahead and pop those open right now. They're fully power, and I have control for both sides over here. I also have the ability to open and close the sunroof shade, and we have a beautiful door trim, lots of leather, and also lots of storage down in the bottom. It easily swallows up my bottle. And let's check out the third row as well. That's, of course, an important part. All you have to do is grab this little handle here. When you do that, the seat is going to go ahead and power slide out of the way. It's also going to start its whole tilting process and whatnot. Do be aware, because the back moves, you may have trouble with the car seat, but it is a very nice setup that it's fully power. Let me go ahead and climb back here so you can see how much space we're going to have in the third row. Now, BMW is saying about 33 inches of legroom and about 36 inches of headroom. Those are pretty good space figures. And as you can see, this seat is slid all the way back in its tracks. I have about maybe half an inch of additional knee room. Not a ton, but that's thanks to these knee cutouts. I do also have room for my feet to slide up underneath of the seat, and overall thigh support is really good. It's certainly a lot better than something like an Audi Q7 or something like that, similar to something like a GLS. As far as features are concerned, there's going to be a lot of that as well. We have leather all through the armrest portion. We even have ambient lighting. We have our own climate vents out here. And then in this area up here by the moonroof, this will allow you to adjust your own temperature because you have the 5 zones of climate. You also do have heated third row of seats as an available feature. So that's really quite nice. In addition, you have the moonroof. So as far as overall how it's going to rate on our third row rating scale, I'm going to say this is fit for adults, and if you get all the luxury features like this, you may feel like a king back here. Now, walking up to the tailgate, as expected, you have a power one. It's also going to have the split ability, so I know a lot of you guys like that. So if you press this button, it's going to go ahead and drop down this section as well, which is really fantastic for tailgating. I know that's a fan favorite feature of this vehicle. Now, as far as the cargo space is concerned, we have quite a good amount for this vehicle. It's going to be sitting at about 13 cubic feet behind the third row, 48 cubic feet behind the second row, and about 90 cubic feet with all the seats folded down. Now, as far as how that compares to the GLS, that is going to be larger than that, but things like a Escalade, if that's what you're cross-shopping with, this certainly is not quite as big. And by the way, if you are looking at other flagship 3-row SUVs, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/vehicle rankings. And the reason you do that is because we've looked at all the flagship 3-rows out there, and we've ranked them on our website in individual categories that might matter more or less to you, such as cargo capacity, luxury on the inside, drive experience, as well as things like resale and reliability. So if you want to make sure you're making an informed buying decision, we definitely encourage you to go to carconfections.com/vehicle rankings and check that out. Now, as far as other features back here, in order to fold the third row, they've made it really easy. Actually, as a matter of fact, you can press this one button, Max Luggage. I like how they make it super simple. You press that, and that's actually going to fold your third row of seats and get your second row of seats in their maximum cargo capacity configuration. Now, as you can see, when it comes to the second row of seats, they can't really fold completely flat because they are fully power. So that is definitely a little bit of a disadvantage with this vehicle, is that they don't fold flat. So that does mean that you're going to have less length than your average thing in this segment. Speaking of length, let's go ahead and get our cargo length, width, and height figures. So with the second row, upright like such, you can expect about 48 inches of maximum cargo length. If you do want to have a long object and kind of push it all the way to the center, you can have a maximum of around 83 inches of cargo length. From behind this third row of seats, about 18 inches of length. As far as opening, about 44 inches wide. As far as height, that's really good, 32 inches tall. And then let me go ahead and get the cargo load-in height as well. My tape measure keeps blowing in the wind. That's going to be sitting at 33 inches. However, do be aware that you can actually lower the air suspension by pressing this button, and that's actually going to lower the vehicle down so you can load things in a little bit easier. There it goes. It took a little bit of time for it to do that. Now, underneath of the floor, you do have actually quite a lot of extra space, so if you're in a pinch, you can use that function right there. Well guys, here we are behind the wheel of the BMW X7. In this test drive, we're going to be discussing quite a lot, as you can see on the screen right now. But first, we need to go ahead and start with a hard acceleration before we get things like our sound level reading.
Very nice. So that was our acceleration up to 60. Of course, we have the 40i model. That's the base engine. But it's really anything but basic. It's, of course, BMW's famous B58 3-liter turbocharged inline 6-cylinder. We've got 375 horsepower, 383 pound-feet of torque. We also have a 48-volt mild hybrid system on board. And it is just so smooth, so refined, quiet, powerful. It's really hard to come up with anything bad to ever say about this powertrain. You know, maybe if you want the V8 sound, they do have that available, but otherwise, you know, unless you're just a super power junkie, this is perfect for almost any type of person.
Yeah, we've said that all in the past reviews, and you probably have heard us say it before. The B58 is really a lovely motor. That's what you have as standard equipment. So honestly, I see almost no need to get the M60 unless you just really want that V8 growl. That's, of course, a lovely powertrain as well. That's a 4.4-liter twin-turbo V8. Also has the mild hybrid ability, makes 523 horsepower, 553 pound-feet of torque. So huge power numbers on that. 0 to 60 is 4.5 seconds, or about 5.5 seconds with this 40i model. So both of the versions are going to be very quick in this X7.
Now, as far as the transmission is concerned, it's an 8-speed automatic. Very nice and smooth transmission like it is in many other BMW models. Just kind of blends into the background and is pretty responsive when you put your foot down.
Now, of course, you do also have standard xDrive all-wheel drive across all versions of the X7. And as far as your fuel economies are concerned, that means you only have two. For 2026, we actually do bump up 1 mpg over the 25 model, just likely due to EPA testing differences, but it's really incredible. 21, 25, 23 mpg is what you're sitting at for the 40i with all-wheel drive. Like I said, that's really, really good fuel economy, especially if you compare it to something like a Cadillac Escalade or whatever. This is significantly more efficient. If you get the V8, the efficiency goes down quite a bit, down to 18 mpg.
Sounds even better in sport mode.
I love this engine. Okay, we're going to put it back into comfort mode, and I'm going to go ahead and toggle it to fan speed 1. The rear climate is also powered off, so we can get our sound level reading. .3 is our official sound level reading in the 2026 BMW X7. That is fantastic, guys. I don't have to sit here and guess, though. I can go to carconfections.com/sound level readings, and on our website, we've actually posted all this vehicle's competition, which I'm sure you'll be interested in seeing how quiet this is compared to. Indeed, that is the quietest flagship luxury 3-row we have ever tested out on the channel. The 25 model that we tested out is 49 decibels. This one's 51, so they're 1 and 2 for the quietest in the entire segment. And this segment, of course, is comprised of a lot of very expensive vehicles, so that's quite the achievement to be the quietest one consistently year after year. And now that we're just kind of cruising down this city neighborhood road, I want to take a second to discuss ride quality. That is a fantastic element for the X7 as well. As you can see, we're hitting quite a lot of bumps in this road, and it is doing a great job of just soaking them up. Why is it doing such a great job of soaking them up? Well, because you have a standard air suspension on the X7, so because of that, it really just gets out all of the imperfections. You're going to be very pleasantly surprised with the ride. Also, I think both Drew and I, as soon as we sat in this vehicle, we were like, oh my gosh, these seats are so comfortable. These are really incredible seats. And we have the leatherette version, so don't feel like you have to upgrade all the different leathers either.
Now let's go over today's Slam Dunk and Airball. I'm going to start with the Slam Dunk, and that is just how well this vehicle has aged. We started off, by talking about it's been around for a while. This was out in the 2019 model year, and they have updated it since then, but they haven't done a ton to it. That being said, it just is so solid in all the core ways that you want for a luxury SUV, with the performance, the quietness, the luxury of the interior, that it really is still a super strong choice in the segment.
Yeah. On the Airball side of things, really the main reason I think that hinders this vehicle from a lot of people choosing it over something like an Escalade is the practicality. If you're looking for the largest center console space, or the most practical cargo area, this is not really going to be the best choice. The lack of fully folding second row seats is kind of a big deal for a lot of people, so that's really just something to keep in mind. Now, like we mentioned at the very beginning of this video, the 26 X7 starts at $85,000. So you can see that right here. We have the 2026 BMW X7. 85 grand is our starting price. We actually have what I would call a pretty lightly optioned X7. 1175 destination. All told, we're sitting at $98,430. Keep in mind, if you want versions like the M60, that will cost you quite a bit more money as well. Now, if you're looking to buy a BMW X7 or any new vehicle, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. The reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. We even have a monthly payment tool, so if you'd like to check all of that out, you can find that in our video description, as well as a pinned comment at the top of this video. But let's go ahead and talk about resale and reliability, because buying a car is about more than just the original MSRP. First up, let's talk about resale value. As an economics graduate myself, we took the time to develop what we think is a good estimate for this BMW X7's potential resale value. We estimate that after 5 years and 60,000 miles, it'll be worth 41.19% of original MSRP, and after 10 years and 120,000 miles, 15.3%. Now, it's worth noting that is lower than industry average for all vehicle brands, and of course, being a flagship luxury SUV, that's one of the worst categories when it comes to resale value, so do keep that in mind. You will lose quite a bit of money on this, but that is pretty typical for this segment.
Now, we've also done the same for reliability by developing the Combined Reliability Index. This takes into account several studies on reliability from trustworthy sources and combines them in a way that gives you a more holistic picture. In this regard, BMW is rated just ever so slightly above the overall industry average for all vehicle brands.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about our resale values, our reliability information, or our methodology, be sure to go to carconfections.com/resale and carconfections.com/reliability. Buying a new vehicle is a very big decision, so you want to make sure you're making a smart purchase, especially if you're cross-shopping between different vehicle brands. Now, when it comes to your warranty, you have a 4-year, 50,000-mile basic and powertrain warranty. You do also get 3 years and 36,000 miles of BMW Ultimate Care, which is a complimentary maintenance program. And guys, that wraps up our in-depth review of the 2026 BMW X7. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, we would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you're going to get the latest car reviews such as this, where we discuss model year to model year changes, as well as cover the newest cars on the market. You won't want to miss out. If you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.